You talk about Sab and you talk about Gilk. Those are players I expect to be pushing the top 6, pushing FaZe to the limit and whatnot. It really is Tusk that is that question mark that, Faisal, you and I, we played with Tusk a lot, especially in the Halo 3 days, where Tusk, I thought, was a great player. He just needs to find the right team, needs to find his rhythm in matches, and he will have success because he's kind of a do-it-all, right? Yeah. He's kind of a flex option that can really put pressure on the map, play the objective successfully, but we weren't able to see too much of that so far throughout his young career as of now, but another big opportunity for him. Another player to talk about is toni TwoTurn as we get this one underway. Toni is a guy that is very young, very skilled at multiple games, and honestly, I hear nothing but good things when referred to him, but he's going to lose his life very early, and it does look like G2 has won the break. 4 dead.
4 quick dead for G1. Great start for G2, and that flag is already being run bottom middle. Gilky with a commando front of the G1 base, putting down loads of damage. Teammates cleaning up kills left and right, and Sab already has the flag back in his base. 30 seconds into game number 1, and G2 caps the flag.
Jesus Christ. In the first 30 seconds, we're going to see a flag cap for G2. It was overall domination. They got the first 6 kills of the game, and not only that, they transitioned that to a flag cap, so G2 getting the slays, getting the objective done. Efficiency is the name of the game, and you're seeing it here and now.
And that's kind of what I expect to see out of a prime G2. Look at those shots by Tusk. Great shots for that once again. This is what I expect to see out of a G2 roster. Hit your shots and play efficient Halo, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
And this is the kind of series where we learn a lot about Tusk, right? It may be the stronger teams in the tournament that maybe expose a little bit of Tusk's inexperience throughout tournaments, but for him to find his footing in a series like this could be so important for the rest of the day for this G2 roster. I love the fact that he's already started off this game 5-1-2.
Devin not able to get the return there. This flag is still alive for G2. I love how they're playing this right now. They're constantly moving the flag up while getting the damage down. But Toni and Swish with a couple of grenade kills. So this flag is in jeopardy right now for G2. Will they be able to capture it? Squallaye close to the return, and it looks like they'll be able to get the return. So not a second cap yet for G2.
This could be big for G1. There's a counter cap opportunity here. Some overextenders already towards the pink side of the map for G2 coming off respawn. And G1, with the flag in the closet, going to be able to at least get this halfway. toni TwoTurn hits the slide, closes that distance, narrows that gap where he would have taken some damage, but unfortunately, he actually goes down. 2 members of G1 are now down, and G2 look to try and push this return, but they can't quite push yet. Straight6 thinks that there's a player on Dynamo Grenades, actually spots the player coming back from his closet. Best shot, takes him down, helps his team potentially get this return, but this flag's still alive, Faisal.
Yeah, that flag is not safe for G2 right now, as G1 able to move it pretty far into their base. toni TwoTurn trying to get the touch, but G2 is right there to get the return. This is a very important fight for Toni, not able to get the kill, and the return goes in favor of G2.
He wanted to get his shield, but unfortunately, grenades just kept coming in, kept resetting. The shield timer reset, and unfortunately, because of that, the return does come through. G2 keep this at a 1-0 lead for now.
Unfortunate flank there onto Straight because he was in a perfect position for his playstyle. You talked about it, Clutch. He likes to get on those heightened positions and just rain down fire. So he was in a great position right there to kind of give his teammates some cover fire, but unfortunately got flanked and taken down.
Yeah, unfortunate, but he is one of those anchor players for his team that's going to be a large damage dealer. toni TwoTurn getting into the base of G2, getting a double with it, creating some space, creating some openings potentially for G1 to get in there, maybe get a flag pull and PreDevoNatoR. He's been doing this a long time. This is a big series for him as well. G1 needs to get on the right footing here in pool play. They need to figure out a way to advance across at least some of the teams in this pool C or in this pool B, and that's going to be very difficult for them to do. Squallaye, he's able to pick up a kill as well, and so far it's about even footing as the battle for map control ensues, but that 1 cap lead that was in the first 30 seconds of the game still reigns true.
Good trade there by Tusk. Consistently, we're seeing this G2 roster be aggressive and push into G1's base. Already kind of in the early stages of this series, we've seen both these teams just have highs and lows, right? We've seen G2 cap a flag, we've seen them run a second flag in, and it got returned. We saw G1 run a flag so close to their base, it got returned. So both these teams are playing so aggressive, and now Straight6 is in G1's base, with the camo.
Yeah, no prioritization from G1 on the power-up so far, and let's see if it comes back to haunt them, because Straight6 picked this one up for free, and now he's gotten to the enemy base. He's got a flagpole of his own, getting it across the map. You see the kill feed lights up in G2's favor. Swish is coming off respawn. He's the last guy to try and stop this one, and he's not going to be in any position to try and deny Straight Sick from making this a 2-0 lead.
And I love that play by Straight Sick. He got the camouflage and used it to capture a flag. That is the objective of the game. I hate, you know, whenever in any Halo you get a power up, you get an overshield or a camo, you should be trying to get a capture or trying to move forward in the objective, and we saw Straight Sick do that. He got into G1's base and ran the flag single-handedly with that camo.
It's all about when you get power weapon and power up control, can you convert that into objective efficiency? Straight Sick doing his best impression of an objective player there, getting the objective done, extending the lead to 2-0, and honestly, Faisal, in Halo Infinite, you do not see 2-cap leads blown very often. It is a very defensive game, even on Aquarius, where it can be a high-scoring map. Plenty of time still left in this game, but you are comfortably playing the rest of this game if you're G2 Esports.
Good shots there by Swish, taking down Gilkey. Looking at the scoreboard really quick, PreDevoNatoR, we haven't had a chance to watch him too much, but he already has 15 kills on the board. He's been a nasty player for a long time. On the other side, we talked about Sab being a really good slayer for G2, 14 respectively for him as well. Toni on your screen got the double kill. Good shots on Straight Sick and Gilkey. Toni putting on a show.
T-squared, Toni turning up right now as his team needs it. That's a third of the life so far. And look how aggressive he likes to be. I love this out of him. The more I see out of this kid, the more I understand why there's a lot of hype around him, why he's on this G1 roster with a lot of familiar names, a lot of household names in the Halo scene. And Toni gets that flag, throws it out, but he can't quite run it yet. Wants his team to get a few more slays. Know that there's pressure in his base that they're going to have to eventually deal with. But in the meantime, he's decided to continue to move this flag, so trying to do it all. And unfortunately, maybe doing a little bit too much as he goes down there.
Sab putting that heat wave to work with the triple kill. Sab with the big triple now, runs the flag towards the utility, and this could be an opportunity for a 3-0 lead.
And here's the issue, Toni. He overextended with that flag. He tried to force the objective too much. Sab was in his base, got the triple, and now he's got the flag on the move. It's a counter cap for G2 Esports to take a potential 3-0 lead as he punches this one in. Eventually.
Oh,
no.
That's a bit of a fumble there for Sab, dropping the flag off of the top ledge. So now he's going to have to just stand on top of his flag and fight, not able to get that third hit. That could be very costly for this G2 team.
They may not cap this. There are multiple members of G1 in their face. They're going to have to try and figure out a way to get the slays. Swish, he's able to get a touch, able to get some help. Get that kill as well, hops the return, and now all of a sudden what was once potentially a 3-0 guaranteed lead for G2 Esports could be a 2-1 lead with the counter cap opportunity here for G1.
That was actually a very, very crucial choke right there by Sab. You cannot fumble the flag that bad where it allows, you know, the other team to get the return and even a counter cap. That could really come back to haunt them, as fortunately for G2, Tusk has made his way over to the G1 base, able to run the flag towards utility and at least give them some real estate on the map.
Yeah, we'll see if it still affects if it punishes them or not. If they can get this return, it's still a 2-0 lead. You still have time on your favor. It's not the end of the world. But if this cap goes in for G1 Esports, this could be massive. And look at that. Swish is here to make sure that they punish G2 Esports' mistake. And now all of a sudden, Faisal, 4 minutes looks like a lot of time only being down 1.
Yeah, it could have been a 3-0 lead, up by 3. Now you're only up by 1, right? So that's a big blunder right there for Sab and G2. The kill feed looking pretty even, so it's not like one team is severely outslaying the other. So it's been a pretty close game so far, and now the score tells that story as well.
19 kills still, though, for Sab. So if you're going to talk about his blunders, you got to talk about his successes. He's leading the lobby right now with 19. PreDevoNatoR on the other side starting to match him with 19 of his own, but Sab is that best player on this G2 Esports team. Unfortunately, even the best players sometimes make those mistakes. We'll see if they're able to continue to close this one out. Tusk with some beautiful shots under Toni, making perfect shots as he looked for the triple, but Sab able to steal that one away from him. Tusk taking down a third member here with some great shots as well, and that's all we want to see out of this young gun, this young career from Tusk. We know what he's capable of, Faisal. He's starting to heat up.
Yeah, like we talked about a little bit earlier, Tusk is definitely that all-around player, someone who hits his shots and knows when to push, knows when to play defense, and we're seeing that once again. He's running the flag towards G1's utility, just tosses it and stays alive, looking to do damage. Those dynamo grenades give him a lot of cover, and now Tusk is going to continue to run this flag.
Beautiful job by Tusk, 4-dev for G1, and this is going to be the third flag. You have to think they're not going to fumble this one as he runs it across the bridge. Why don't you just hold on to this one, Tusk? We've seen what happens when flag juggling goes wrong. make it an episode, make it a YouTube series, whatever you want. But Tusk punches that one and makes it a 3-1 lead for G2 Esports.
Sab able to get help there on toni as Tusk picks up that kill. Good series of events by Tusk, 19 kills for him. And now we have Sab running the flag, utility, running the flag towards the dynamo grenades here once again, seeing him toss out the flag and just look to do damage and the players chasing behind him. And not able to do too much there, but ultimately still a good opportunity for G2 to just kind of get more real estate on the map and just continue running these flags. That's a good recipe.
All right, G1, what are you going to show us here? 2 minutes left in the game. You're down 2 flags. All of a sudden, the clock starts to weigh on players' minds as it approaches 0-0 on the clock. You need to figure out a way to make this a one-cap game. PreDevoNatoR has that in mind. Unfortunately for PreDevoNatoR, he's lost 2 teammates, so this flag not going to have technically the support that you would want to have while trying to run this. Fortunately for them, they do spawn closet side, so they may be able to help him out, but unfortunately he gets sandwiched before anybody can get into the closet and try and help him. Flag's still down halfway, however. Got 2 players to deal with on the dynamo grenades, and those 2 players make slight work of the rest of G1. And this flag, it's shortly going to be returned, and G1 with less time than ever before to try and make this comeback a reality.
Double kill for Devin, but not able to make it to that flag in time as it did get returned. Heat wave in his hand. Devin trying to do some damage, but goes down. Straight sick. toni left alone as well as he falls. A couple members go down for G1, and like you said, Clutch, only 55 seconds. Looks like that player, maybe his controller disconnected or something, but not much. Oh, there is one player did go out for G1, so looks like that game may have lagged him out. But a 3-1 scoreboard there as G2 was having a fantastic game, and Tusk really in that last minute or two was playing phenomenal.
Getting back into the series, it's going to be G2 taking game 1 like we saw, 3-1. It was just a minute on the clock before someone disappeared, and G2 dominated pretty much the objective story in that game 1, but not having to worry about objective in game 2 could benefit G1 here. Getting back into the series, you do not want to go down 2-0 against G2, but Bazaar Slayer, it's not necessarily the easiest game type either, Faisal.
What are the keys to success on a Bazaar Slayer, Clutch?
I love to control the middle of the map. I love to trap the enemy team at one of the bases, right? And it's so difficult when the other team has the middle of the map control to get out of a base. You're trying to push out a tree, you're trying to push out a rockets, and you see teams make the same mistakes all the time where they try to push out a tree first. When you get stuck at a base, you need to push out your side of rockets and gain control of the angles towards your closet and towards your side of overshield in order to help players that are pushing out of the tree get that space. It's almost like a progression step by step. It's like, all right, are we in our tree in our bar? Yes. Now we got to push rocket side. Check. Now we can push into our corner, and now we have half of the map to play around. Once you have half of the map, you try to win those gunfights.
Here we go, loading into game number 2. Bazaar Slayer starting things off with Tusk on your screen, going for the overshield, but gets taken down. So overshield will be in the hands of G1. A much better start for them. Double kill for Squallaye right off the bat, and he's being aggressive. 3-0 start for G1.
Somebody I didn't think had a great series against Quadrant was Squallaye. So if he can pick it up, already starting off 2-0 in this game with overshield in his hands, make it 3. This could be great for G1's chances here in this series. You know Squallaye has had a lot of talent. He's been on the scene for a little bit himself, and this could be the roster that brings him on the map as a household name as well. This upset would be massive for G1 here at the LAN. We'll see if they're capable of it. toni 2-turn, he has rockets, so it's all G1 early on, 5-0.
You cannot have such a terrible start in a Slayer game, especially in Halo Infinite. We saw G2 succumb to that fate on game number 5 against E United because of their slow start. We were actually talking to Gilkey last night, Clutch, and he said we were down 9-1 before we knew it, and the game got out of hand. Well, look at the score right now. It's 9-0, so a very terrible start for G2, and now the snowball effect could be in full force.
Gilkey, we talked about this. You can't let these things happen at a tournament. You have to be locked in the second the Slayer starts. If you start off slow in a Slayer, it is bad news bears. It is so difficult to manifest a comeback. A couple of kills do get traded back into G2's favor, but I mean, they still have so much work to do, and on a map like Bazaar, it will not be easy to create this comeback.
On board with Straight Sick, gets a nice kill with the grenade bulldog in his hands. Gets taken down by toni. Tusk gets a kill on the other side, so a couple members for each team fall. It's been a lot more back and forth since that 9-0 start. Gilkey with a good kill right there on toni.
Tony's crazy. The grapple with the shotgun just right at 2 people that are shooting you, like you have no chance of getting a kill. He actually almost gets a kill there, which is actually the craziest part, but he gives no Fs.
Now this overshield for Gilkey is going to be very important, and there you go, punching in that overshield, so this could really kind of turn the tides, and fortunately for G2, it was still in the early stages of the game, so they were able to do a hard task, and that's weathering the storm after a really bad start, and now, unfortunately, right there, Gilkey gets taken down, so it's not totally weathered just yet, but things could have been much worse right now. They're down by 7.
Still a 7-kill game. G1 still looks like they have good control of the maps. There's still a lot of work to do for G2 Esports to make this a real competition here in game 2. They're going to be stuck over a blue, and we'll see if G1 can trap them efficiently here. Look at this. This is going to be so difficult for G2 to push out of. They do trade 1 kill, but it's traded back again and again in G1's favor, and at 18-10 with players at very disadvantageous positions right now. So Squallaye, he wisely just backs up. They're going to play for this next set of rockets. Oh
yeah,
my.
Squall, before that death, was actually playing that really well. He saw 2 players on G2 able to maneuver his way out of there. It took 3 G2 members to take him down, so a lot of attention being put to that top rocket player. And we're on board with Toni, who gets taken down with rockets in the hands of Sab and Bulldog as well. This man always controls the power weapons as he replaces one of them with the BR as the ammo has run out. But Sab always on top of the power weapons, always on top of the power-ups.
Still just a 6-kill game, and it looks like G2 Esports has a lot more control of the map now, so G1 needs to be careful here. This is where that fantastic start could be immediately erased. Straight sick towards the overshield. He's going to have some good information on players trying to push towards the shotgun, and that is not where you want to be if you're a G1 Esports player. You want to be high up on the map. You want opportunity to have some cross angles. You want to control the middle, and unfortunately the bottom middle of shotgun is not what I'm referring to.
Tusk in the battle top rocks, chooses to thrust out of there now, putting down some great shots, get some great information on a couple of G1 players in front of their base. This could be a big series of events for G2 as Tusk gets a double kill. Sab also marking on the map, letting his teammates know where the rest of G1 is, and another back-to-back overshields in the hands of G2.
It's been all G2 since the start of this game, and still a 3-kill game in G1's favor, but you can feel momentum and the power control shifting towards G2. G2 has dominated the control of the map since they've basically got their footing, and that does not bode well for the rest of this game for G1. They're able to trade out a couple of kills, but they need to figure out a way to get around the slays in their favor, and I'm not quite sure they're in position to do that right now.
Gilkey spots a couple players. Bottom shotgun definitely will call them out to his teammates, and now Tusk marking as well. Nice shots by Tusk. Good job by Gilkey giving him the information. And there we see once again Tusk in the right place at the right time. Another double kill, looking for the triple with the Bulldog. Tusk making plays.
The triple for Tusk. And all of a sudden just a 2-kill game here now, separating G1 and G2. Make it a 1-kill. It's continuing to be traded back and forth. G1 Toni picking up a big double, making it 9 for his team and his kills for the game. Toni continuing to be that main slayer for this team, and they need him now more than ever to get back into this series. And he hears that, and he's answering the ring of the bell. Another triple kill for Toni, make it 12 for him for the game. He's starting to pop off.
Yeah, and it was a 1-kill game like 20 seconds ago. Now it's back up to a 7-kill lead. Make that 8 kills, make that 9 kills. G1 is rolling right now. Everything working in their favor.
It's a new T-squared on the block. Toni turning up right now. 13 kills to his name, 13, 5, and 5. And he has once again spread this lead to a 9-kill. Make it 10 kills now for G1 when you thought G2 did enough to come back in this game, and you thought that they were going to grab the momentum of this game too. It was Toni 2 turns to shut that storyline down.
Yeah, after the initial start there for G1, it was pretty much all G2. It was kind of back and forth, a little bit close, and then G2 went on a big run. And for the last minute and a half, it's been all G1 as the lead has been extended to 10 kills. Straight sick, trying his best in front of the base right now, picks up one, puts down shots on the other player in front of the base, and just this 10-kill lead is quite a big one with only 9 kills left to go for G1.
Such a fast-paced game too so far, and I mean, we were on Tusk's screen, we saw the triple, we saw nothing but good things, but taking a look at the stats, 7 and 14 is pretty rough from Tusk here in game 2. Gilk not having a great game either, double negative as well at 5 and 10. And that's the difference here in the score line. G1 looking to close this one out, and it's going to be a miraculous comeback from G2 if they try to make this one a reality. Unfortunately, Sab just under so much pressure here, bottom middle. does find a kill on the PreDevoNatoR, spots a second player as well. So as the game starts to slow down, G1 needs to recognize that they can play this much more passively than they have been throughout this game, and they can close this one out.
I don't know what it is about the score when it's like 43 to 36.
That's a winnable game.
Yeah, like if my team has 36 and it's 43-36, I feel like we're totally in this game.
One round of slays and you're down by 3.
Yeah,
is how I see it.
So this is a very pivotal moment in the game right now. If you're a G2, like you said, Clutch, get a couple kills, and this is anyone's game.
You need to figure out a way to trade kills if you're G1. You don't have you don't have map control right now. The most important thing is turning this into a 45-39 game, and that's a much more difficult comeback because you have so much less room for error if you're G2.
Just like that, 45 to 37. So
beautiful.
Those 2 kills, like there's times in the game where kills matter so much more, right?
Yes.
Even though they only give you 1 point towards 50, that just matters so much more. And 45 to 39. So still just there's hope there. And as I say that, the 47 to 39. So this one it pretty much should be wrapped up, and G1 should be able to tie the series.
It just allows you to release so much pressure off of each one of your lives, right? When you have that much room to play with, 49-41 now, G1 finding themselves an overshield as well. And you can bet that they're going to punch their ticket here in game 2. They're going to tie this one up. And G1 and G2, they play each other often here in the HCS qualifiers, in the Pro Series, and now at the Major. And it's always a good series. And once again, now all tied up 1-1. It's going to be a best of 5. You can almost bet this one's going the distance, Faisal.
Toni, Swish, Devin, Squallaye coming out firing in game number 2, tying things up with a 9-0 start in game 2, and then pretty much letting G2 tie the game in that mid-20, early 30 stages, and then taking off and closing the game so strong.
Yeah, it was really Toni stepping up there in the middle of that game and creating separation between his team and G2. It looked like G2 had everything going for them after that rough start. They were able to crawl back, and when you see 26-25 after having a 10-kill lead, you're like, we're in trouble. But it just took one player stepping up, making a play, and from that play, the rest of the team once again gained that momentum to punch their ticket to a Game 2 victory.
Yeah, looking at the stats, Tusk, we talked about it. He had a couple nice moments in the game where he was able to really open things up for him and the rest of the team, but still ultimately dying a little bit too much. 16 deaths is way too much for a Slayer. 1-1 as we're hopping into Recharge Oddball. You need to win 2 out of 3 rounds to win the game.
Ignore the mangler on your screen. It will not be picked up throughout the series. It is GA for the tournament. GA, G1, G2. It's all acronyms.
Camouflage bottom, middle shock rifle on that across the bat ledge. You have your sandbox to work with, and ultimately it's going to come down to teamwork and rotations.
We'll see how strong these two teams' setups are, right? This is a big question for me when you look at the top 12 teams in North America. Is they can get a setup that can typically play with the lead, but can they hold that setup and how long? How long does it take them to break setups as well? We're starting off with PreDevoNatoR. He's looking to be aggressive bottom control. Already finds himself an assist with a nice melee, some good damage onto a third, and it's all G1 here early on.
Yeah, 4 members go down for G2 and only 1 kill on the side of G2. So once again, a great start in this game, similar to game number 2. Squallaye almost connecting with that headshot. He has camo shock rifle. Nice shot on nice no-scope. Not able to get the kill, though. That could be a blunder that cost him, and I'm sure left a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah, that's no good from Squallaye there. You want to see that kill get secured and him move on to the next, because there was real potential for him to do a lot of damage right there. But unfortunately, that shock rifle, if you're not perfect with the headshot, it is going to do minor damage to that player, making that kill so difficult. But it does look like G1 has weathered the storm, has gotten the kills that they needed to secure some ball time here. Now they start to rack it up, already up 25 points.
Got the turbine control. 3 members of G1 here able to help each other. Great positioning by the G1 team, but that player and pipes go down, and guess who it is? It's Sab. Running for the melee, gets the double kill, gets stuck though by Toni, but gets the third. So 3 members fall for G1, all thanks to Sab.
Let's see what Gilkey can do, though. He's had a slow series, a slow tournament, in my opinion, as of now finds his first kill of the game. Can he find a second? Tries to get that insta. You know, in H3 it would have worked, but unfortunately not here in Infinite, so he's forced to back up, no shield. Eyes on the grapple, it's still there. Nobody going for it yet from G1, but right now it looks like the ball bottom repulsor. So a good position for G2, it looks like. Will they be able to secure this one? Sab's going for it. He's got repulsor, but you have to think G1's got to pressure the top, and yes, they're here will they be able to deal with these players? Knocks him back right into straight six. That was actually nasty.
He repulsed that player into straight six back. That was really dirty. Now Sab once again getting the kills, has the ball time, doing everything in order for his team to win the quote-unquote swing game.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about the strengths of setups. We saw G1's first setup. It lasted 27 points, and then it was broken. Now it's G2 Esports' setup in back blue with the ball. Unfortunately, when you set up back blue and you have camo, you're able to bait that camo player into an easy assassination here. Straight six continuing to make plays with camouflage in this series, continuing it here in game 3. Good damage on the sword player. Wisely backs up, and he makes that kill look oh so easy onto Toni. That's a killing spree for Straight Six.
I'm so impressed by Straight Six so far in this series. Like, he's playing so patient, so methodical, hitting his shots, making the right plays with camo, and you know, unfortunately G1 right there doing a great job as well, pushing and kind of going even right there. But if it wasn't for Straight Six, that could have been really bad.
And that's the thing about Straight Six, right? Throughout his career, when he finds his rhythm at tournaments, it is dangerous for teams. He can catch fire. He can bring this G2 team to potentially, I'd say, as high as a top 3 placing if he's playing lights out and the rest of these guys step up. So we'll see more from Straight Six as he continues to dominate. 7 kills to his name right now. We'll see how G1 gets to respond, because when Best Shot is playing that well, that's smart. You have a great player on your team.
Swish on your screen right now gets a kill onto Tusk. And that lead is getting away from G2 a little bit as G1 able to hold that turbine top elevator setup with the ball, not allowing players to cross over from utility. And you have Swish top glass, so they have all their vantage points covered. And this is just a really hard setup to break. You really got to kind of get down a lot of damage and get that first kill before you can move up.
Look at that player that pushed across bottom camo, so he was out of Swish's line of sight. We'll see if that player finds an opening in the setup right. But 2 players trying to push Swish in pipes. It looks like G1 are going to be able to deal with those guys, but here's that player I was talking about, Squallaye. He gets behind enemy lines, finds himself a free Tusk, and because of it now, it looks like G2 or G1 is going to be able to rack up some time. That was a beautiful flank from Squallaye. That's the player I was calling out that went that bottom camo route. He played that so patiently, and because of it, you're seeing a veteran play from Squallaye pay off for G1.
9 seconds left to go for G1, and they will advance into round 2 with a nice lead as Swish putting down some great shots. We talked about the pickup of this guy, and you know, one of the best pickups that G1 could have had, an absolute phenomenal player, and he spots that.
Wait,
actually, he does not spot that Campbell player. That was only on our side, but Devin right there with the shock rifle double kill, looking for the triple. Not able to get the overkill, but big plays out of Devin as G1 will win round 1 in this oddball very comfortably, and solid plays all around from G1.
And Devin ends the round with 10, so as much as you wanted to talk about Straight Six and his successes, it was Devin in the second half of that round 1 that really started to heat up, and that's another dangerous player who's placed very well at LAN events when he's on fire as well.
This is a very important round and very important game for G2 in my opinion. We're still in pool play, but this is really just going to set the temperature for the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend for them. You cannot afford to lose this series, and just basically that means you lost to all 3 of the good teams in your pool. And nice shots. Toni trying to get the triple, but gets a double and puts enough damage for that player to get cleaned up. So once again, a fabulous start for G1 and a troublesome start for G2.
A big kill by Gilkey onto the ball carrier to deny time from going into G1's favor, so they're not able to capitalize on these kills as of yet. But Toni's still being a rampant nuisance with this shock rifle. Spots this player top control, rips Tusk's head off. Once again, focuses on bottom double stack, knocks the player to no shield with some help. But still no ball time for G1, so you want to see some efficiency here of objective play, because all these kills are great, but if no ball time's awarded, you could see G2 get right back into this second round.
Swish able to sneak his way from top elevator into control, does damage on one and takes out another, so good play right there by Swish. Devin gets taken down, a couple kills for G2. Maybe this will be what they need to change the tide in this game, in this series, as finally they're able to get a setup and start putting some points on the board.
See, it was all G1 earlier in this round, but already G2 overcoming them in the scoreline, and that's what's important here. So a little bit of lack of objective efficiency from G1 earlier on in this round, but they built that round lead. We'll see how long G2's setup is going to last, and that kill from Tusk you'd think would help it last a little bit longer, but unfortunately G2, they don't trade these kills, and because of it, they actually lose 3 of their own, and G1 now looking like they're in control.
21 points for G2. Sword in the hands of Swish as he's going to pass off that ball to his teammate. He says, I got the sword, you take the objective, let me see what I can do. And this is a great play, right? You just play patient, let them put, this is one of the most obvious places for G2 to push through in this general vicinity, and having a sword makes you such a power player. That power up, I think, just got punched in as well for that G2 member, so very fortunate and good place for G2 right there, taking out that sword player and it's racking up ball time.
If I'm Swish and I know that player just picked up camo, I feel like I'm just sprinting at him and trading my life for
with
his.
the sword.
Yes,
yeah.
and making sure that I eliminate camo from the equation, because look at this. Tusk with camo sword in control. This is going to be almost impossible unless you have a repulsor to deal with, and they got the repulsor. Tusk not able to find the opening kill that you would have thought he would have been able to with sword. He spots the second player bottom tunnel. Unfortunately, Swish with perfect shots takes him down, and now all of a sudden, that camo, it's been neutralized.
The sword
coming out.
The repulsor is outplaying a sword with camo multiple times in this last 30 seconds. So that repulsor obviously very important to keep in your back pocket. Toni actually having himself around right now. 9 kills already. He is putting on a show.
I just like to yell Toni every time he gets a double.
Toni.
And you can just see his,
it's like
you
Kobe.
can see
Toni.
that, yeah, you can see his shots are just nice as hell with the shock rifle, then pulls out the BR for the double. You're not even watching it from his point of view, but you can tell how special of a talent this kid really is as he's starting to make his young career a reality here for G1 Esports. It's 48-16, however, here in round 2. G2 Esports making this game 3 count, trying to push this one the distance. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock. And G2 Esports looking much better here in round 2 than they did in round 1, Faisal.
Yeah, definitely looking a lot more polished this game, and I like to look at the scoreboard. It doesn't tell the whole story, but it tells a large part of the story. And seeing Gilkey just not outstandingly having more kills in his team, but has 8 kills, has 5 assists.
Much
like
better.
He's just putting more damage, he's being more of a presence on the map, and he's getting involved. As Hunter JJX would say, let's get involved.
Yes.
Gilkey is very involved this round.
Let's play the game. Spawn in, Gilk. We know what you're capable of. Faisal and I are 2 of the biggest fans you have in the building. I promise you that. Your ceiling, we know what it is. We know what you're capable of. You can play with the best. And it is a scary thing to think about when you're playing at a high level. We just haven't seen it as of yet, and this could be the start to something great for him. However, the ball still being neutralized, 75-18. Almost a complete reversal. Gilkey finding some confidence with the body disrespect as well, and you can tell he's starting to feel his stride.
When Gilkey starts shooting bodies, it's a problem for the other team. You know he's feeling good, and he needs to start playing that way, and finally catching his stride. 94-16. This is an absolute bloodbath. And on the other side is G1 as G2 ties up the score 1-1 going into round 3.
These series go the distance. These games are always going to go the distance, and this oddball, it's going round 3. Round 1 dominated by G1. Round 2 dominated by G2. What will happen here in round 3? Who will determine who will take over round 3? That's the big question. It's an early trade of kills so far.
Yeah, let's see if G2 can actually have a good start for once in these games, and it looks like at least it was an even start, so not terrible for either side, and no control for either side just yet. Yeah,
better than we've seen. They did have a strong start to Aquarius CTF, but since then they've had rough starts to each of the rounds, each of the Slayer situations, and G2 finding their footing, it seems. Trade kills that do favor G1 so far here in round 3, but still no oddball time. You want to see efficient oddball played here by G1. That was something we knocked them for in round 2. Came back to bite them, and already Toni two-turn. He's focused on that oddball. He's got it all the way to the elevator with some teammates around him. This could be big for G1.
Yeah, and only playing up to 100 seconds per round, like the scrappy time is so important, and it's so valuable, especially on this map, right?
10 seconds is a lot.
It's a lot, and you can really, and you're able to play it out in a multiple area. So anytime you're an opportunity to get ball time and rack up 5, 6, 7 seconds, you need to do that. And we're seeing these teams do that. It's ideal to hold a setup, but you also need to master the skill of milking.
Yeah, here we go. G2 got the ball to elevator. Not able to milk too much time, though. Gilkey under tons of pressure, but the rest of G2 is there. They get a few kills of their own. And now they've turned G1's elevator setup into a G2 elevator setup. And we'll see if that's an actual elevation. If this is a +1 to G2, 23 and counting. Hold on to the ball.
Gilkey and Tusk trying to work together, but not able to get any kills there.
The
Both fall,
push.
and now the setup just like that got turned into G1 setup. So a very unfortunate series of events there for G2, and Gilkey and Tusk not able to trade any of those kills.
Yeah, you can't let two players run across catwalk for free like that and just take you down. You have such an advantage when they have to come through that doorway up top. Unfortunately, G2 not taking advantage of that advantage, and because of it, G1 breaks the setup almost immediately. They regain the lead, and Devin, he gets taken down.
Good flank.
And once again, another setup broken, but a great job by G1 to break the setup of G2, but they're going to have to do it again.
Here we go. Gilkey with the sniper. Shock rifle gets spotted, though, on the bat ledge. Nice grenade to take that player down to one shot, but I know he's upset that he wasn't able to get some information on that player and gets taken down when he really could have been a difference maker in these, in these next series of events.
All right, so that ball actually gets thrown into the bottom middle, but it doesn't look like anyone from G2 able to watch that oddball, as it does get immediately picked up. Back to elevator. Toni, he has his eyes set on getting the shock rifle in his hands. Good grenade this time around from Gilkey as well. It's going to take him down. And look how chaotic this game is. Players are everywhere, pushing from everywhere, breaking every setup. And now G2 with multiple players towards elevator. They keep everybody alive. And this could be the real first setup for G2 to gain a significant lead here in round 3.
3 members go down for G1. A flawless execution of breaking a setup by G2. And now Sab needs to keep his shields and needs to be able to watch that cross, right? The play is going from control to top elevator. Because he took so much damage, he had to back off. And now you're seeing G1 push up.
He does get a kill, though, but Toni finds 2 in the kill feed. So it's a 2v2 situation here. Both players trying to push Turbine. Tusk finds the first. Tusk finds the second. All 4 down for G1. The setup of G2 Esports is strong for the first time in round 3, and this could be where the series is determined.
Big fight here for Gilkey. 4 shots. Perfect. Right there on PreDevoNatoR, and some shots after he goes down to send a message. That's a scary sight when Gilkey starts shooting bodies. He got him perfect, and now Straight Stick, everyone is in their respective positions, watching the angles, getting the lines of sight, and hitting their shots.
18 points is all G2 need, and G1's pressed to be aggressive now. They're losing multiple members. It's up to 2 players, and they're going to have to deal with Straight Stick with Camo. He's had so much success throughout the series with Camo. Can he stay alive is the question. Squallaye, he takes down Gilk, but Straight Stick with Camo. He's so sneaky. He's so successful. He finds another kill, and G2 are going to close game 3 out with 1 more point, but they don't get it. The setup is broken at the very last second. Straight Stick still with this Camo, though. Gets behind the ball carrier, knocks him to no shield, and he's got to go for the ball. You just need 1 point. You do not want G1 to have any opportunity at a setup here.
Yeah, that was curious that they haven't been able to get that last second. Straight Stick played that a little bit questionable there. Nice double kill for Devin, but here you have Tusk finally running in and getting that last second. So great. It got a little bit scary at the end there, but great overall, great job in round 3 by G2. Now extending the series 2-1.
Tons of error to play around there at the end, so nobody in G2 really forcing the objective. Of course, it's Tusk making the smart play to just say, hey, let's end this game. We're not messing around. We don't want to risk anything, right? So G2 Esports jumps out to a 2-1 lead now. We go to Streets for Strongholds here for game 4, and it's a must-win for G1. And G1 coming out of AM bracket looked so strong, but all of a sudden, a tough series against Quadrant, a tough series against G2, and now all of a sudden pool play looking very difficult for them.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch the Street Strongholds. It's such a fast-paced game type, right? And players on both teams are very aggressive, so we're going to see a lot of back and forth similar to that Oddball. Not much opportunity for just very solid setups. It's mostly scraps, and then once or twice in a game, you'll see an extended setup. So I think we're going to see something similar like that in this game 4. In G2, that was a big win for them, giving themselves some cushion. And like we talked about, worst case scenario, they have a game 5 on the horizon.
Most importantly, you see Gilk with the consistent body disrespect. And although that can be viewed as like a waste of time and how you need to be focused on the game, especially in a game that went the distance as far as rounds and whatnot, confidence starting to grow in G2, something that they probably didn't have much of after yesterday. Completely different story this time around. Gilk with 8K damage, going to lead the lobby, and that's the Gilku we know and love.
Yeah, Straight Stick and Gilkey doing a great job putting down damage, and I've been very impressed by Straight Stick's strategy when it comes to playing that with that camouflage, right? Except at the end, and even in the end, that play was
still pretty good.
It was still a fine play. It was just unfortunate the way his teammates fell, and it kind of put him in a strange position right there. But overall, he's been making good plays with the camo, and Gilkey has been stepping up in the department of slaying. On the other side, we're looking at Swish putting up a lot of damage himself, and I expect him and his teammates to come out strong in Game 4 and try to push this to a 5th game.
Not often you see PreDevoNatoR struggle in a damage category. I feel like that's something he's very known for as far as being a consistent damage dealer. Look for him to pick it up here in this series if he wants G1 to stay in this one for any longer. It's Street Strongholds like we talked about. And unfortunately, Faisal, the power-up story, once again, heavily in the favor of G2. You don't have to worry about it on Street Strongholds. There's only Rockets you got to really focus on here. Rockets and the Bulldog, I'd say, but
a Stalker.
You got to figure out a way to control more of the sandbox, more of the power curve here if you're G1. You can't just rely on your BRs, because when teams have better weapons than you, or are invisible, or have more shield than you, the game's just so much easier. And we saw the advantage that Straight Sick was able to create there. You do not want to see the same advantages given towards G2 if you're a G1 fan.
Yeah, and we mentioned the power weapons, the Rockets and the Bulldog, but we also have the Stalker rifle on this map.
That thing rips.
Fun fact, Gilkey, talking to him on Thursday, said he thinks he's the best Stalker rifle player in the game, and I see Clutch making a funny face, but hey, Gilkey in his heyday has been one of the best precision weapon type of players.
Agreed.
So that Stalker rifle does cater to his gameplay, his play style. I'm expecting him to go for that Stalker off the start of Strongholds Streets and really try to do some damage.
Absolutely. I mean, no doubt, Gilk, one of the best snipers I've ever seen. Am I going to call him the best at anything right now in the game?
It's tough. That's a tough
It's
claim.
a tough one. Yeah, well, you might be on the list for voting, but you probably won't be voted for much.
But prove us wrong, Gilk. Let's see what you can do this event. Let's see what you can do this game. If you want to shut us up and you want to tell us that, hey,
that being said, I just watched Chick have the sickest overkill I've ever seen in my life with sniping, and I would have told you Chick is not in the top 20 snipers at this tournament. So highlight reels can still happen, especially if a player like Gilk is on.
Yeah, excited to see how this game plays out. Will G2 close it out in game number 4, or will G1 push this to a game number 5? We're gonna have to wait and see. Now, Wes, on Stronghold Streets, what are what's the key to success in that game type? What is the preferred stronghold you want to control, and what is the kind of like the preferred setup you want to have?
The preferred setup is a trip cap, right? And I'm not trying to be a smartass when I say that. I mean, it's when you see the best teams implement the most efficient strategy on Strongholds, especially on Streets, it's constant aggression, constant spawn trapping, constant split spawning, to where that trip cap is an actual setup. It is an actual thought process of, we know they're about to spawn in Tram, we are going to kill them in Tram, we know that they're going to spawn PD or Cafe from this point, we are rotating quick enough to be able to defend all three. That is a realistic thing here in Halo Infinite with the sandbox, with the movement, with the small map like Streets. You can keep a trip cap for a significant amount of time. The best teams in the world can end a game with just one setup. We'll see if these two teams can implement those strategies. I think they're very capable of it, but we'll see if they leave that door open, if they are able to execute that kind of strategy to a T.
Here we go, loading in to game number 4. Stronghold Street, starting things off with Gilkey throwing grenades in that drive, running into Arcade, trying to capture B right off the bat. There's a player in that red room. Gilk with the stick. Hold that for me, Tony. Gilkey with some nice shots on that player balcony as well. So great start for Gilk and the boys on G2.
A much better start from G2 here than we've seen in the previous games. And because of it, look at that, the trip cap getting pushed. And we'll see how long G2 is able to keep this with Rockets in Tusk's hands. This could be a long one, ladies and gentlemen. This game could get ugly quickly.
Great rocket there by Tusk, taking out Toni, going for that A, and now getting some vital information on the players in PD. Four members go down for G1. The triple cap is still in effect, and it's already 50-0.
And watch this. They're about to spawn C, and they're not going to be comfortable trying to collect C because Tusk still has that rocket. Gilkey looking to be aggressive in the commando hall, and yes, G1 still fighting for their tournament lives, fighting for their lives here on Streets. They need to try and get a stronghold. It's almost 100-0 in the first minute.
Holy guacamole, this has been an outstanding start, and I'm actually so surprised right now because we haven't seen this out of G2. They don't come out with these strong starts, and if we see them come out with these strong starts consistently in the rest of this tournament, we talked about their potential to be a top 4 potential team, and this is what they're going to need to do.
Absolutely. This is a different roster that we're seeing here pick up the pace, the confidence. It's growing from game 3 to game 4. Gilkey 5-3-0. Tusk 3-3-0. Toni still killless on the side of G1, and he needs to figure out a way to find a kill, but it's going to have to be off this next respawn because Tusk just put him back in the death screen for another 8 seconds. So what? The trip cap, it's over. A is controlled for now, but they need to figure out a way to continue to stop the bleeding because, I mean, you blink, Faisal, and it's 142-0.
Big couple kills there for Swish, and this could be a very important, this is a very important point of the game for G1, similar to how G2 just held an outstanding setup and put 142 points on the board. You're going to need to really close the gap right now before things get more out of hand.
Yeah, Swish doing what he can to try and help his team clear out. And now all of a sudden, a trip cap for G1 Esports. Here we go. This could become a game all of a sudden. You got to try and figure out a way to keep this trip cap in favor for a little bit. A nice double kill from Squallaye as he picks up that rocket, immediately puts it to use. And 36 and counting. So now almost just down 100. Much more manageable than 150. Squallaye with the big 1v1. Ooh. Unfortunately, it's no longer a 1v1. It took too long to try and push that player. That player had a shotgun and a teammate with him. And the trip cap's still in effect, but we'll see now that multiple members of G1 go down if G2 can capitalize in the objective column.
G2 looks to convert C, and they do so. Now it looks like they're going to be going driveway and focusing on this B, but just taking damage without doing any. Straight stick running, just beelining towards that B stronghold. Toni with the double kill. That drop shield is so clutch right there, able to do damage and stay alive because of it, and gets out of harm's way.
Somehow he gets out of there. Rechows, still no shield. Finally gets a shield back, gets another kill, and all of a sudden Toni, who was once killless in this game, just put out 5 of his own, and that's immediately reflected in the score, 72 points. Now for G1, it's no longer a blowout, but just as I say that, 4 dead for G1, and G2 Esports are going to try and push another trip cap situation.
Yeah, we saw when G2 have that trip cap, they put 140 on the board. We saw G1 only able to do about half of that, right? So it shows, it tells a story right there that G2 is able to kind of face that resilience and respond a little bit quicker, and G1 is going to need to turn things around really quickly as B and C both in the favor of G2 on board with Sab right now putting out shots on that player under balcony, trying to stay alive. B stairs finally gets taken down, but Tusk gets the kill of his own.
Now you want to talk about slow start and how that impacts the rest of the game. G1 slow start may not be able to be recoverable here. They do get a few strongholds. They are starting to transfer C as well. It looked like Swish does go down. So does Toni, so it may be just a BC hold for now. Rockets did come up in the meantime, and they look like they were in the hands of G2 Esports. But Gilkey, he doesn't find anything for the first one, only 1 rocket in hand, and this is a very dangerous area to have those rockets. But I mean, you talk about precision weapons. Rockets maybe not the most precision weapon, but threads the needle with that one and gets a kill.
Yeah, that rock looked more like a snipe right there as Gilk really narrowing right there and getting that kill. Sab with the nice one, cleaning up Devin before he can get away. And looking at the scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen, they're double the score of G1 right now, 185 and counting to only 99. And G1's backs are against the wall right now as Sab takes down Devin. If G1 loses this game, they will lose the series.
It's another story of control of the power on the map so far for me. The Rockets, when G2 has had their setup, they have gotten the fresh set of rockets and kept the setup even longer because of it, because the kills come so easy when you have that rocket control. G1, their setups have been so much more difficult to hold because they don't have those power weapons to pair with it. And because of it, it's now 215 to 99 and climbing.
Trying to get the trip cap. G2 momentarily has a trip cap, but B gets converted. Sab in a great position right now in the middle of the map. Gonna probably jump on the tires and see if he can help his team get B control back. Spots the player, forces him to drop down. G1 trying to capture C. Straight Six right there, though, to try to stop it. Let's see if Straight Six can keep them out of C and keep the double cap for his team. He will not be able to do so. The points on the board currently for G1.
Straight Stick gets taken down. 2 members go down for G1, however, and now with only 25 points needed from G2 Esports, G1 nearly needing a trip cap to come back into this one, but they have to focus on holding the 2 for now, and unfortunately they lose 2 more members, and this is going to be very difficult for them. Toni misses a crucial shot that gets immediately punished, and that could be the beginning of the end here for G1.
Devin with a good grenade kill and heavy damage on that player in tires. Not able to get the kill, but will try to convert B Stronghold and does just that. A is right on the cusp of being converted, but it hasn't been completed just yet, and there it is. So a couple Strongholds now in the favor of G1, and only 15 seconds left to give to G2 before they win the series.
Yeah, but once again, Rocket's in the hands of G2, and now look at the advantage that just creates. It's an immediate kill for Sab. He's able to stay alive, give us some numbers, more information, and with that, 240 and starting to climb.
Yeah, and just look at the scoreboard, Clutch. I think that tells a big story as well. Just
yeah, the kills are the difference.
Getting outslayed. G2 doing a great job. Sab doing a great job. Just picks up a double kill, banks a grenade, trying to look for the triple. Instead, just rushes the player, gets the trade. Very valuable trade right there as well. So just for one of his life, takes 3 members down from G1. A fantastic job by Sab. Gilkey now stops that B push, looking for the double. Gilkey picks up 2, looking for 3 on this player B, but Devin does take him down. Great job there by Gilkey and Tusk trying to stop Devin from converting B. He does, so now 2 Strongholds in the favor of G2 trying to close this out.
Yeah, Squallaye doing what he can, finds himself a double, but unfortunately he's going to lose his life in the process. They get A control, but they lost C in the process as well. Someone needs to get into B. 2 points is all G2 needs, and that's going to do it here. G2 are going to take the series 3-1 over G1 Esports here in pool play.
G2 putting on a show and starting off this Saturday the way they needed to start off this Saturday. Once pool play is over, which for them now it will be, they're going to start their lower bracket run because they're not going to be able to be 1 or 2 seed, but we know they are a very scary team. So if you're in the lower bracket and you run into this G2, you should be very afraid because towards those last few games, the player that I'm looking out for, Gilkey, really stepped up. I believe in that Strongholds, he had like 18 kills, 12 assists, and like 10 deaths. And I can't wait to see the stat to see how much damage he did. And even in that game 3, that round 3, he did so much damage in that oddball game.
Yeah, if you want to talk about implications of what happened here in this pool, it's G2 will go to the elimination bracket faster than anyone in the stands would have ever perceived, right? What does that do? That means someone that loses in winner's bracket early on will then have to play G2 Esports for a placing that they thought they probably had under wraps, but they're going to have to play a very strong team in order to get there. G2 will also have to as well play a team from winners that will be a strong team, but we see this so often, Faisal, because that one upset to Quadrant, what that does to the bracket means 2 teams that should not be playing each other for top 12 or top 8 later on in this tournament will, and that's going to be one hell of a match with a lot on the line.
Looking at the stats right here, Gilkey, 18 kills, 13 assists, and only 10 deaths. A big closeout game there for the Gilk Duds. On the other side, pretty even for the boys on G1. Still having a very impressive performance against 2 really solid teams, Quadrant and G2. Unfortunately dropping to both of them, and now they're going to have another tough team ahead of them, E United, later on in the pools. Looking at the series layout, 3-1 in favor of G2, and then we saw G1 come right back and dominate in that game number 2 Slayer Bazaar, and game 3 was a nail biter right up all the way down to the wire, and game 4 we finally saw G2 kind of assert their dominance and come out and play very strong.
Let's talk about G1 for a second and the journey that they're having to go on, right? A gruesome open bracket that they made slight work of on Friday. They got to wake up Saturday and they have to play 4 straight pool play matches against arguably 4 really good teams. Quadrant being tough. Game 1, they lose game 5 in their first series. Then they got to go play G2. That's a series that was, both these series were winnable. And it's like, at what point are we asking too much of players like coming from the open bracket? Because the mentality of just like starting off with a loss and then having to play another team immediately and then knowing that you can beat that team but falling short, like where do you get a chance to catch your breath? How do you get a chance to take a break and to reset your mind and to get on the right path? Because this G1 Esports team, we know they can make a ton of noise here in the championship bracket, but they got to figure out a way to stop the momentum from going downhill against them, and unfortunately, they haven't had to.